Now, it's gold. Like data is the new gold because the moment you can make sense of that data coming in, can you still hear me? Okay, all right. The moment you make sense of that data coming together, you can do things like insights, you can do things like predictions. But how do you bring that data together? You need a unification method, which could be a data cloud layer sitting on top of your data lakes, even on top of the data which sits in your Salesforce apps, actually. Because if you remember, your Salesforce apps has a marketing context and a commerce context and a service context and a sales context in Sales Cloud. So bringing that together has always been a challenge. And that's why Data Cloud was actually there to solve that channel, the unification and building the 360 view. Now, Tableau on top of Data Cloud is where you actually start seeing the insights from the data. You make sense of the data there. And an example could be, I could make sense of my products, which are the hardest to sell, which the cost to sell is highest, but sells the least. Or maybe I'm marketing the wrong products to the wrong segment of customers. I could see all of that insight in Tableau and actually build that segment back in Data Cloud. So I don't not only now ingest data, I'm writing back to Data Cloud with segments driven by my insights, which can then go on to my either Google Ads platform or Marketing Cloud platform, which will feed into the personalization, the automated campaigns and journeys. So that's just one way. So Data Cloud could be used to not just ingest, but also make sense and throw out the data into relevant platforms. And of course, with all this comes integration, which I haven't put here. But the integration could be any integration layer like MuleSoft. And it depends on the complexity of your landscape, how you would integrate this. Does that make sense? Okay. So similarly, with the marketing journey, let's go on to sales. So what's important in sales is really things like conversion rates. So how much revenue are you making? How many what's your win rate? So how many opportunities do you go after? What percentage do you win? Increase lifetime value of the customer. So are we cross-selling, upselling with the customer? Is our salesperson productive enough? How much time are they spending on admin time, etc.? So all of that is the metrics that a typical sales organization would want to track. Obviously, they would want to have sales productivity as high, value as high, and conversion as high. And to do this, they would need typically three things. So you could use a generative AI assistance for productivity. What does that look like in Salesforce? This is the Einstein Copilot that you have. So you could use that to generate automatic follow-up emails. You could use that to generate call summaries for the sellers, which will automatically get stored in Sales Cloud. And that saves the salesperson a lot of brain time because it's literally admin. If they've spoken on the phone and they can generate a summary, or if they can just generate a personalized email to the contact in Sales Cloud, it saves them a ton of time. Then it's all about automated prospecting. So we could read from things like Marketing Cloud or propensity to buy score based on the data we are feeding into Sales Cloud, which helps the salesperson actually prioritize, what and who they're going to go after, where they'll spend their time with opportunities, etc. And then the process intelligence and modeling is all about sales operations that we see. So the sales operations people could use that to automate processes, automate call logging, and the modeling of their data and opportunities. And the way to do that is, again, it looks similar, but in this case, you are, again, ingesting data. And the data here is not going into marketing, it's actually going into Sales Cloud. And you'll say, but hang on, my data is already in Sales Cloud. I'm already selling from Sales Cloud. But here you're enriching the data in Sales Cloud. And by enriching the data, you might have a contact and a company and an organizational email. You might not know what their marketing preferences look like. You might not know what their birthday is because that's in another system. You may not know preferences, or you may not know the company's financial trends, or their buying or their fiscal year cycle where they have budgets and they don't have budgets. So all of that could be enriching data into Sales Cloud, again coming through Data Cloud, because this is where you could unify your data from the silos that the data sits in back into Sales Cloud. And Tableau, again, on top of Data Cloud, could help you create those insights, create those segments, make sense of the data that you're unifying in Data Cloud. And similarly, you could again come back from Sales Cloud and feed into things like Marketing Cloud, because once you have enriched data in your CRM, you could then again use it for your peripheral marketing systems, etc. So what can you use that is there in Salesforce now? As I said, Copilot for sales. There's next best actions, which is predictive AI, which can tell you, well, maybe because the customers got this, and this for X amount of years, you could go and propose another product or an add-on which will help them, or a value sales proposition. It could be used to send emails, sales summaries, forecast guidance. So how likely is the deal to close based on the data that is there, and meeting follow-ups, etc. And also build things like close plans, which we know a lot of the salespeople actually spend time on that. And then Data Cloud related lists and copy fields, etc., can actually help automate a lot of that data unification that we're talking about here. And the last one is all about customer service, which we all have touch points with. At some point in our life, we've called up a call center, or we've chatted to a chatbot. And the KPIs here are pretty simple. It's all about, well, how many times have you stayed on a call for 10 minutes and hung up? Because that is an abandoned call. That is an opportunity for the brand to have an interaction with the customer. It's also about improved customer experience, because the brand does want to personalize, their experience for you. They want to make themselves more relevant. They want to reduce churn. They want you as a repeat customer to come back. And then average handle time is all about agent productivity, and how much of the call can be resolved on first calls, and what is the average wait time for a user, etc. So to achieve these KPIs, four things that we can do in Salesforce with the AI that we currently have. We can have AI-driven agent insights. Now, how great would it be when you transfer from a chatbot to an agent and you don't have to explain your problem 15 minutes long again? Because you've already written it down, but the chatbot didn't have an answer for it. So it transferred you to a human, but the human has no clue why you've been online for 20 minutes chatting to a chatbot, right? For me, that's my dream come true. If that can happen, that immediately elevates my tension, right? Because I'm probably calling because there's a problem. And also now I don't have to repeat myself. I've saved my time. I've saved the agent's time. The agent already has all the context. But hang on, the agent also knows I've been a customer for 5 years. I'm a platinum member. I've got XYZ products. And the agent can have a holistic view when they're talking to me as a customer. And that makes me feel a lot better. And it's just not me feeling a lot better. It's all about my experience with the brand, right? They can solve my problem better. They have the context. Because how many times have you had a conversation with the agent and said, "Oh, sir, before you go, do you know we had a new AC?" And you're like, "I just bought one last week from your brand, and you didn't know that." How frustrating is that? But that's exactly that data sits there because there was an order, there was a delivery. That data has just not been unified into your profile. So the agent doesn't see it. So essentially, the AI-driven agent insights is one way where you can really enhance your customer touchpoint whenever it happens. Predictions and suggesting next best actions, again, helps to train the agent, helps the agent to stay relevant. It's like a sales assistant. And then it creates upselling opportunities, but also you could automate the system. So when you hang up, you could get an automated follow-up based on the conversation you had, the products you touched upon, what you showed interest in, or simply a follow-up, to lead you into your next part of the journey with the brand. So to do that, very similar again, and we're talking about the same things. The only thing that's different is now we're talking about customer channels as well. And we know, and I've put WhatsApp here because that's one of the most used channel outside of America. And we know that especially some of the brands, especially around Middle East, they like engaging with WhatsApp. And now we're even seeing banks who are creating WhatsApp channels to engage with their customers. And that's a very important channel of engagement. Obviously, we had SMSs and other social channels, but essentially all your data is fragmented. And if you can't make sense of that and the data that's sitting in your CRM, data lakes, data warehouses, and unify that data to create a personalized experience, you can't feed that back into Service Cloud and create that agent insights or the customer experience that we've been talking about. And how do you do that? By AI-powered bots, Copilot for service, next best actions you could switch on. You could do things like case routing. So if you have specialized teams of agent, and if AI can actually make sense of the data or the reason why you're calling or interacting with the brand, you could route the case to the right team right away, right? Without having to go through multiple passes. And then things like article recommendations, case wrap up, and creating knowledge articles can all be automated on Service Cloud today. And that's it, really. I mean, I know I'm out of time, but I just wanted to leave you with, how do you think about realizing value faster? I know I've talked about a lot, and it's been like one slide. But essentially, the way to think about it, start with the simplest thing that you can switch on out of the box. So if you can switch on things like actionable insights, next best actions, do that. Just start with your CRM. Maybe start with your most common, most painful use cases, but not something complicated. Maybe things like sales emails, call summaries, Einstein replies or case summaries is what you can test out your AI with. Obviously, as you start getting deeper and deeper with AI, data becomes extremely important. And that's where you'll start to think about your data strategy, whether Data Cloud is the right unification platform, what sits under Data Cloud. Do you have data around data lakes? What is your integration strategy with MuleSoft? How do you make sense of the data? Because at each of these points, if you're not creating KPIs, if you're not making sense of the data, you will not know what the next step is. And then start building your prompts, Copilot, language models if you want to. But I think that's quite advanced. And I know I've been given the timeout, so. If you have Q&A, I can be outside and I am happy to chat with you. I think I've run out of time here, but thank you for listening and thank you for bearing with the tech issues.